So yeah, Hebrew for certain is definitely a whole nother level. One good thing is you know, I don't know, like most words are short. There's usually not many words that are over 5 letters in Hebrew. Most Hebrew words are actually built off of 3-letter bases, which is actually kind of nice. But then you have the prefixes and the suffixes and stuff like that. But you don't have these extremely long words typically. But it's a complete. The hard thing is honestly is learning how to read this way, but also writing this way. You can't transliterate the Hebrew in the same way that you did the Greek. Greek, you can just go straight over top, or letter by letter and going across. Well, Hebrew, the words going this way, but you're writing this way, so it kind of goes like that. You can't write it over top, or unless you can read your letters backwards, which is then even probably more hard. But yeah, it's definitely it's got its own thing. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. We got enough people here. Let me pray. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day. Thank you for this time together. And I pray as we get through the Hebrew alphabet that it would just be a joy to see the work being done and how you are helping us to understand your word better. And so I just want to lift this time up in your son's, let me pray. Amen. All right, so, and then Abilene, Texas is calling me. I don't know who you are. The only thing we're going to do tonight, we are just simply, like we did with the Greek, we are going to learn what the letters are called, how to pronounce them, and the vowels, which are actually quite a bit more than Greek. But then we're just going to try, like we did last time, just work together to try to transliterate as we go and see how we're doing. And I've given you a couple of, you should have 3 pages in your workbook. Like the alphabet, I tried to do them on single-sided so you weren't flipping it back and forth. And then we'll have our 3 practice verses down at the bottom of that. And then I gave you Psalm 1 and Psalm 23 to practice on with your transliteration if you want to this week, if you like to do that. No, some of you really enjoyed that. So that's the things for tonight. So it's just literally just going through the alphabet. What I'm going to do 2 things. We're going to go through the alphabet. We're going to learn what they're called, how to pronounce them. And then I'm going to go and show you how to write them. And then we'll go into the vowels, and then we'll kind of work from our way from that and see how those work. Does that sound good? So this one, just like the first week in Greek, it's a lot of just straight information, and you gotta know it, right? Like I said, the biggest thing, probably the hardest thing you're going to have with this is the fact that you're going the other direction. That's going to be the biggest thing. Second to that is the fact that nothing looks familiar. None of these letters look like anything you've ever seen before in a sense of like English letters. The only one that maybe sort of looks like, if you look at the Samek about 2/3 of the way down, it looks like the backwards of the sigma in Greek. It's an S. There's a similarity to that one. And then maybe the Resh a little bit below it looks like a backwards R. It's an R, but it's like a backwards R. Outside of that, that's about it. So this one's just going to be tough in the first part, but I think for some of you, I think you're going to see the Hebrew alphabet. It's going to click with you even better. For some reason, Hebrew clicked with me far easier than Greek did. I just got it. Greek, I struggled with. So it just kind of depends on the person and how we go. But so we're going to go through. I'm going to say it, and then I want you to say it back, and then we're going to show what the letter is, and we'll just say. So we're going to pronounce it. And then we'll see what the letter is. We'll see what the transliteration is. I'll explain it. Then move on to the next one. Sound good? All right. So, and our first one is Aleph. 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 Now, right off the bat, very confusing. Aleph has absolutely no sound to it. It is a silent letter. You're like, come on now. But what it does, and what I make there, it takes the sound of the vowel. It really, this one, and you'll notice down at the ayin, those 2 letters, here's the thing. In Hebrew, there are no actual vowel letters in Hebrew. In the written language, there are no written vowels. We'll see something that becomes vowel points. Like if you go to Israel right now and look at a sign, there are no vowels on their signs anywhere. And you're going, what? How does that work? Well, it's kind of like, and I'll show you here in a minute, when we read things, let me show you, I did this out here. Let me just show you this real quick. So don't say this out loud yet, but and this is how it would have been written at the time of Jesus, or even before that when they're doing these things. You didn't waste space on anything, and so you just put your letters together. and then you put no spaces in between them, and then you also, like, and with Hebrew, there are no vowels. Now you go, now let me ask you, I put that whole sentence, there's a sentence there, don't shout it out yet, but I guarantee you most of you, if not all of you, can read exactly what I wrote. By putting your own vowels in that sentence, you probably know what it is. Anybody know what it is? What is it? The dog ran down the street. How many of you saw that? The dog ran down the street. How many of you can see it now? Now, how did you know that I wrote the dog ran down the street? I didn't put any vowels in there. I didn't put any spaces in there. How'd you know?
Start sounding it out, you figure out as you go.
You know English. That's why you speak English, and you know, after using it, growing up, you can put things in there yourself. But here's where it can get kind of tricky. So if I look here, what if I like Thad, and I have ground, one, the stir, two. I don't know. I'm just making up words. But you can see, like, what if, like, I could put Thad in there, or but this could be ground. You put an O-U in there, O-U-N-D, and this could be win. It could be one, right? It could be, I guess, I don't know. There are other things, but so that's where, whenever it comes to translators, whenever you see different versions, you're like, that word, that your translation said he picked him, he held him in his arms, and mine says, or no, there's one, I think there's a great proverb, and it talks about the God's voice, when he says it, the deer gives birth, and you're like, what? What the heck is that? But the other one is like when he speaks, it's something like the mountains tremble, and you're like, those aren't even in the same ballpark. Well, it depends on where you cut the word, or what vowels are actually put in there. It can go from the deer giving birth to the mountains trembling, and it's the exact same letters. But it depends on what vowels you put in and where you cut the word. So that's we won't get into all that. We don't. The good thing is any Hebrew text or whatever you get now, it's all separated out, and the vowels are in there to help us read it. But that's the things that they dealt with. So whenever I say like something doesn't have vowels, it's the vowels. There's little dots we'll see, little tiny lines and stuff. And here in a minute we'll get to that. Whatever those are, and they fit with that letter, the aleph, it'll have that vowel. So there's only two of them that do that. All the other ones are nice consonants that are great. So first one, aleph, and it takes the sound of the vowel. Next one, bait. Bait. And it's a B sound, bait. Aleph, bait. And I kind of give you a pronunciation there. So the third one would be the gimel, not gimel, gimel. It's a long I, gimel, gimel. It's a G sound, g, g. It's a hard G sound, so not a soft G like we have. It's a hard G sound. All right? And then you have dalet. Dalet. And it's a D sound, d. Dalet. And then hey. Hey. And that's just an H sound, a soft, like a, it just has the, it's almost like this is the first of the breathing letters. There are some words that are like breath letters. It's a hey and a yod. The Y sound, the W sound, they're called breathing words. Interestingly, God's name is all breathing words, breathing letters, which is interesting when you think about maybe his name, which it means to be or to exist, are all breathing words. And what is breath? It's life. It is, right? It's existence in life. Anyway, interesting thing. So hey, it's a H sound. All right, this is vav. It looks like W-A-W, but it's vav. Vav. V. And now this can be a W or a V. Don't worry so much. It doesn't really affect your translation, whether it's a W or a V, but it can be depending on the word. Sometimes if it's ever at the very front of a word, it's always a V sound. If it's the first letter, it's V every single time. If it's in a word, it's most likely going to be a W sound. That's not across the board, but just a good rule of thumb. First letter, V. Anywhere in the Western word, it's usually a W, or unless it's an O. So we'll get to that. Unless it's an O sound, or an U sound, or a U sound. It kind of depends. Hebrews, yeah, that's where it gets tough. But for the most part, that. All right, you got next one is Zion. Zion rhymes with Ryan. So it sounds like Ryan. Ryan, Zion. Okay, it's our Z sound. Z sound. Then you have, now this is a guttural. This is the one you, whenever you think about Hebrew and people always make fun of it, this is the letter that do it. It's a chet. Back in the throat, chet. So it's a sound. It's a CH. Sometimes, let me show you this. In transliteration, sometimes it'll look, when you see transliteration, it'll look like this. So if you want to write that on your thing beside the CH there, if it has an H with a dot below it like that, this is a ch sound. It's the CH together. It's like you got something in the back of your throat. A chet. Now notice that one looks very, very similar to which letter we've already done? Hey, it's almost the same. The only thing that's different is just it connects, whereas a hey doesn't. That's a little watch out for it, like the difference between that and that. Notice there's like the little spot right here that's not connected. That's a hey. The one on the right's a hey. Okay? Then you got tate. Tate. Hebrew has 2 T's. Why? I don't know. Hebrew also has 2 S's. Why? I don't know. It does. There's 2 T's. It says tate, so it's T. Then you got yod. Yod. And it's just a little tick like that. You know, whenever, and when Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, he says, not one, I tell you the truth, that there is not one of the smallest letter, or the old King James says what? Anybody remember jot and tittle, right? Jot is actually this letter, the yod. It's the smallest letter in Hebrew. So he's saying not one yod, the smallest little letter, or what he's saying, or the other part, like here, if I look at the dalet, the yod, or the smallest letter, stroke of letter, or that tittle, is actually what he's talking about, is this little thing right here. And if you notice, a lot of the letters have those. Like bait has one right there. You know, the dalet has one. There's a bunch of them that do. Anyway, so that's when he's talking about not the smallest little part of a letter that can be off. He's talking about the yod, or that little tiny tick on the side. He's like, not even that will pass from anything in the law until all things are being fulfilled. That's what he's talking about, this yod. That's a Y sound. So yeah. It's like a yes sound. All right? Cough. Like you're coughing. Cough. Now, it's a K sound, but notice this is the first letter that has an or in there. The only thing this means, if it shows up anywhere in the word except for the last letter, it's the first one. If it's the last letter in a word, it'll be the second one. Okay? So that if you want to put that note on there, if it's the last letter in the word, those are the same letter, actually. Both of those on the or are both K sounds. It's just the second one is at the end of a word and it looks different. I don't really know why. It's just the way they did it. Remember the sigma in Greek? One of them looks like this if it's in the word, and it looked like this if it's at the end of the word. Same kind of thing. There's a couple of these. Kaf, K. Lamed. And that's your L sound, lamed, la. I mean, nothing special about it, lamed. You got maim, not mem, maim. It rhymes with name, maim. This is another one. If it's in the word, it looks like this. If it's at the end of the word, it's very squared off like that. And here's another little, spot. So if it's in the word anywhere, it's the first one. If it's at the end of the word, it's the second one. This one's a lot easier. They actually look a lot alike. But end of the word. The next one, noon. Noon. It's just like we'd say noon, high noon. It's an N sound. Again, this one has 2 of them. First one, anywhere in the word. That second one, it's anywhere out at the end. If it's at the end of the word, it's that one. Now, there are certain ones that look a lot alike. That one right there, the second noon, looks a lot like what? The vav. The difference is, so you've got this vav here, it goes here, and then the final noon, it just goes like this. What's the difference? It's just a little bit longer. It looks the same. It's just longer, and it goes below the line, basically. It's a longer letter. That's how you're going to tell them apart. It's a longer letter. Noon, in. Okay, this one is samek. Samek. It's actually samek, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't come into the pronunciation. Samek, it's an S sound. S. Just a S. Samek. There's 2 S's. Next one is ayin. Also rhymes with Ryan. A lot of Ryan in here. Yep. Ayin. Now, this is another one. It matters about the vowel. It just depends on whatever the vowel is. We'll see that in a minute. So it only takes vowel sounds. It can be an A, it can be E, I, O, it can be U. It just depends on what it is. All right, and then you get pay. Pay. It's a P sound. And this one, there's two different ones in the word, into the word. So the difference here, you've got this one that comes around, and the pay at the end of the word goes below the line again. It's kind of like that. It's just going to go below the line. Pa. Now this one's kind of a tricky one. Tsade. It's the TS. Tsade. And that's the sound it's going to make, the TS sound. Tsade. And this is two of them too. So tsade is going to have this kind of funky thing. You're going to come here. Or at the end, it just goes down and it's below the line again. The tsade. If it's at the end, that's the last one that has two of them. It's a TS sound. Tss. And then you've got kof. Rhymes with loaf. Kof. Looks like a P. Goes below the line, but it's a Q sound. Raish. 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 It looks like a backwards R. That one's probably the easiest one to remember. It's a backwards R. It looks like an R. It is an R. It's backwards. And now, this one's a little tricky. This is actually technically the exact same. It's technically the same letter in Hebrew. There's no difference. There is only one letter. It's just they put a little point at the top to differentiate with which one's a S sound and which one's a sh sound. If when you read it, when you see it, if it has the dot on the left, it's a seen. Say seen, seen. It's an S sound. If it's the dot is on the top right, it's sheen. Seen and sheen. Sh, sh, sh sound. And then finally, another T is tav. Tav. T sound. Tav. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through. I want you, if you want, you've got some room there. If you want to practice on the back, or if you want to get your note cards or whatever, we're going to walk through real quick just to show how to write those and how to say them. Okay? So what's our first one is Aleph. All right, what you want to do here, you just make a diagonal line like this, and then you can just kind of make almost like a little S type thing here. So I'll do it again. So a diagonal, and then an S like that. So I'll do them a couple times. Diagonal, a little, almost kind of little curly Q there. Honestly, it kind of looks like a swastika. I know it sounds weird, but it does. It's going to help you remember. It does. It doesn't really, but it has that similar shape to it. So Aleph, sound of the vowel. Bait. So you're going to just go over. If I do that, whenever I drag it, it does. So go over, down, and back. And so if you want, what you can do, so go over and down, and I think it's easiest to just draw another line on the bottom. Make sure that it comes over here, though. So over and down, and then across the bottom. That's a bait. Huh? Yeah, it's kind of almost like a 4 that fell over, kind of, yeah. All right, so bait, B. So gimel. Now this one, you come down and go to the left and do another one to the right. Or if you want to kind of do that, you can. I don't know. I've seen people do it both ways. So you kind of almost make that little S, and then you kind of come down like that. So go, if you want, doing that and around. It kind of sort of almost looks like, whenever you write it out, it almost sort of looks like lambda, sort of. It's not quite, but it kind of sort of has that feel to it. Gimel, G. Dalet is this one simple, just straight across and straight down. But make sure you keep this little extra piece on the side. So straight across, straight down. Cross, down, Dalet. Okay, hey, this is the way I do it. I just kind of do a short line here and then come above it and over and down. A little short line, over and down. Short line, over and down. Now, obviously, this is my handwriting on it. As long as you can read it, it's fine. And it doesn't look terrible. Don't worry about it all. These are called serif fonts. They have all kinds of, crazy, there's a lot simpler ways. You won't see, this is just a fancy font, but this is usually what it's written in when you see it in a Hebrew New Testament or something like that, or online. It's going to look like this, but, this is just for writing purposes, so. All right, so, hey. So Vav, this one's simple, just short one and down. It's like a little crook, like a staff or something, or a cane. Just draw like a little cane. No, it curves over and down, just over and down. That's a vav. Now, Zion is very similar to this one, but you're going to do just a short little kind of, I guess, diagonal, and then from the middle of that, come down. A short diagonal, from the middle of it, come down. Short diagonal, middle, come down. Like that. Zion. Okay, this one does have like the little piece on the end of it. So the short diagonal and down. Okay, Zion, Z. The hate looks almost like the hay, but instead, I mean, just kind of, you continue it off. So do a taller line, you go just past it and down. Here, just past it and down. If you like to do it the other way, that's fine. It doesn't matter if you're left-handed and it's easier to go up and around, whatever, as long as I'm just trying to help you to kind of see how to write them out. But it does have this little bit right here. You can get away with writing it without that. If you do kind of want to just go like that, you can get away with that. You're not going to know what it is. It looks more like a hay, but as long as it's not disconnected, you kind of know. Hate. Tate. Oh, yeah, because I put the thing on there. There we go. Oh, gone. All right, so you got Tate. You're almost going to make like what I do is make a circle around and come in. It's almost like almost like you're doing a spiral. Come around and down in there. Around, down. Okay? That's it. It's almost just like making a little spiral coming around and down. That's a Tate. Don't worry about all the fancy stuff that's on there. Make it simple. Yod is as easy as it can be. Just a little, it's a comma in the sky. It's just a little comma, but it's not on the line. It's up in the air. That one's easy. Super easy. Kaf is just a backward C. Backward C. Capital C, I guess. Backwards capital C. And the other one is like a dalet. It's the exact same as a dalet, but it just goes down further. Make a dalet like this one here. Make like the dalet, but just go below the line. That's it. Same thing as a dalet, just goes below the line. All right, lamed. I start at the top. I come down just a little bit, go across. Oh, can't. It likes to, so I got to go faster. Go down, over, and then around. And make a 7 with a little thing on the top. If you want to do it like that, 7, and just do a little thing on the top, you can do that. That's probably an easier way to do it, honestly. Do a 7 with a little deal on the top. That's a lamed. All right, maim is make a little kind of not quite a C. Maim there, do like a little curl, and then come around and under. Don't connect it. Around here, come like a hump, and bring it towards the beginning. Little curl, hump, bring it back to the beginning. I know this is a little more painstaking than Greek. I understand because we just have never seen. We don't deal with this kind of letters. I mean, so I am being a little more intentional with it because I think it'll be help. Noon is just simple. It's just like a C, or a backward C, but it's just boxed off. Noon. That's it. That one's simple. And then this also, it's like the vav, but it goes below the line. A vav that goes below the line. That's all it is. And I'm going to make a video of this too and put it online so you can see them again. So don't worry. And it'll be just what I'm doing here. I'll record it like I did with the Greek. Samek is I struggle. I don't know why. I still this day struggle to do this one. But you can do it one of two ways. If it's easier to go this way, do it that way. Or, I mean, you honestly can come this way. It doesn't matter. But it's just making, I don't know. I struggle with this letter. I don't know why, but I struggle to write it. Either way, whichever way, but it kind of comes off like that, Samek. And ayin is like a Y. Just try to do like a fancy Y. That instead of it going below the line, though, you stay above. So like just kind of like a curly Y. Ayin. That takes the vowel sound. The pay, this one's a little bit tricky. So start in the middle, go out, and you're going to make like a clockwise around. You're going to go out and move, you're going to go out and around clockwise. Almost like making a 9. So start in the middle and go around clockwise to end the same direction that you started in. Does that make sense? So you're just going to kind of do that clockwise around. The ending one is just the same way, but you're just going to go straight down instead of kind of coming around. You just make it shorter and come around like this. That's your P sound. And then sade, this one's probably one of the more tricky ones. Sade is one of the more tricky ones, I think. You kind of come down and around, making this little thing. It's like a B without the part right here between, and then connect the little line there. So almost like you're making a B, if you want, and then connect it there. If you want to, if that helps you to do it, but kind of roll it off and come across there. That's your sade. Or you can do like this, almost like you're starting a K, but you're not finishing the bottom of it. If you want to think about it that way, it's like you're starting a K, but you don't finish you don't do the bottom part. Almost there. Kof, this one's easy. Straight down and just make a triangle. Make a P that doesn't fully connect. A P that doesn't connect. That's all this is. That one's pretty easy. Resh, backwards R. That one's pretty simple. Just a resh is a backwards R. And the scene and sheen is like make a rounded W. Don't make it like a W like this. Don't go like this W. But what you want to do, it kind of looks like a W, but make a U and put a line in the middle, like down through the middle. Make it into a pitchfork. And you've got the dot on the left. It's a scene. A U, a line, you make it a pitchfork. If it's on the other, a U with a dot on the other, it's a sheen, S-H. And then tav. Tav is exactly like a tate, or it's a chait, but it's got a little foot on it. It's a chait with a foot. So make a chait with a foot on it. This is what I mean right here is this foot. So it's kind of got this on it. It's a chait. The chait would go like this. This is a tate. It's got the little kind of foot on it. That's it. So same letter, put a foot on it. Okay? T sound. Simple enough, right? Woo! Yes. Okay. Go ahead. I'm happy to do some of these again. Yep. Oh, yes, you're right. Mame, yes. So for the mame, the last letter, just you can make a square, but just make a square if you want, and just put a little deal on the end of it. Or make your square this way, but leave that little extra spot there. That's what a mame is. Just make a square with a little bit extra hanging off. Okay? Whew. Lot. All right, let's go through the alphabet. Let's just say the alphabet again, and what does it sound? So ready? First is Aleph, Aleph, and that's the sound of the vowel. Bait, B sound. Gimel, G sound. Hard G, G, G. Dalet, D sound. Hey, H sound. Breathing sound. Vav, and it's a W or a V. W or V. They actually sound, W, V. They're very similar, but Zion, Z sound. Yep. Chait. Chait. Yep. It's that guttural CH sound. Chait. Tate. T. Yod. Rhymes with toad. It's a Y sound. Yeah. Kaf. K sound. Lamed. L sound. Mame. It's an M. M. Noon. N sound. Samek. It's a S sound. Ayin. That takes the vowel. We'll see that in a minute. Pay. P. Sade. Yeah, that's TS sound. Kof. It's a Q sound. It's Q with almost, but not like the QU. But it is their Q, but it could be a hard C, a K sound, whichever. Resh. R. And then seen. S. And then sheen, sh, sh, and then tav, t sound, T sound. All right? That's your vowel. That's your alphabet. Now, do you think that was hard? Wait till you see the vowels. This is what I'm going to go through these quick. This is what the paper is for. You are not going to memorize these tonight. I guarantee it. You're not going to memorize these probably next week, okay? They're going to take you. This took me some time. There's a lot of them, and they're a little bit confusing, okay? Now, let me explain what I'm doing here, okay? So don't worry. What you don't want to worry about, do not worry whatsoever, period, about the name. Who cares? Okay? Don't worry about the name. It's too many things to worry about. I can't even remember them all. I remember most of them, but I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be saying what it is. You're going to be transliterating or trying to sound out the word. Don't worry about the name, okay? The Hebrew letter, those little things there are the vowels. They're not actually in written Hebrew. They don't exist. Those are, you know why those are there? For all of us sitting here, all of us non-native Hebrew speakers, so we know how to pronounce their words properly. So when you look at a Bible and you see these letters in there, all they are there for are to help people pronounce it properly. It's not for a native Hebrew speaker because they know how to speak it. Kind of like the dog ran down the street. You already know how to fill it in. That's all these are here for. It's these little tiny dots and little lines that make all of their vowels. Okay, and that there's like kind of a third line there with the two maims or the maim and a hey to see what it looks like in practice. And then we have the pronunciation. Okay, so don't worry about the thing, but the pronunciation. But look here, if you see a little tiny dash under a letter, okay, you see a little tiny dash under a letter. Let me scroll down here. And what I mean, this could be it can be under any letter. I just did all maims to make it simple. It's the same thing. But it can be under any letter. If I have a hey right there, if I put, what letter is this? Hey, right? If I put one little line underneath it like that, that makes a ah sound. So this would be, together it would be, you do the H sound and then the A sound. It would be ha. Or you can get away with ha. This word, this right here, is actually the word the. So have you ever heard me say, if you ever hear, whenever it goes, you hear me every time, some of you probably have wondered when I say the Satan. I don't actually say Satan. Satan, believe it or not, in Hebrew is not a name. It's not a proper name at all. That word means adversary. That word exists outside of the person that we call Satan. But it's the Hebrew word almost exclusively is ha-satan, which means the ha-satan, the Satan. So it's the adversary, the one that's the adversary. It's not his proper name, nor is Lucifer. Lucifer's not it. Actually, Lucifer's not even Hebrew or Greek. Anybody know what it is? It's Latin. It means light in Latin. It's not even a Hebrew or Greek word. The word Lucifer is nowhere in your Bible unless you're reading your Catholic Bible. That's the only place, because they have Latin, right? So there's certain things that aren't actually names. The devil is not actually a name. Same thing. It's actually a title. And you're going, what do we call him? Well, exactly. That's why we call him those, because he doesn't have actually a title. Anyway, so put the little letter underneath. This would be ha, like ha. Now, it's usually a short one, but you can get away with a different ah. If you do the similar thing with it looks like a little tiny T underneath, like that. That's a short. It's ma. It's always it's always an ah sound. Ah. Okay, so this would be a short a, like ha, Satan, ha. But there's ha and ha. Don't worry about it, but just know that they're a sounds. Okay. That's the big thing. Ka. Like park your car in the Harvard Yard. This is that. It's a ka. Very good. Now, interestingly, if you have a word, and what I mean by that hey with it's over there to the side, it doesn't, what this does when you have that is these two letters collectively make the same thing. This H, since it comes afterward, it's just the A sound. I know it sounds kind of confusing. But look over to the right of it, and you have that maim, the comets, and the hey. That's just not, it's not mah. It's not mah. You're not pronouncing the, in this case, you don't pronounce the H. It's just mah, mah. It's the exact same as the one above it. So if I have this and this, are the exact same pronunciation. Ma, ma. They're both the exact same. It's just, this helps you to know, all this is just helping you to know that you don't pronounce that H in there. It goes together. We'll see it in practice and it'll make more sense. That little tiny one single dot underneath, that's it. If you have one dot, it's a short I. Meh, meh. Like that's it. It's like men. So if you look over to the right, you go mih, mim, all right? Same thing. Now, this is a little bit different. If I add a yod past it, if there's a dot under one letter and the next letter is a yod, it lengthens to an I. So it's me. Okay? So no yod, it's a short I. The yod lengthens it to a long I, me. So from meh to me. We'll see this in practice. Again, we'll see this. So we're going to see it. And when you read this word in English, what's that word? It's not Elohim, right? We all say Elohim. Well, it comes from there's a kirik or a hirik and a yod in that word. We'll see it in a minute. But so if it kind of goes like this. So if you got, oops, I don't know what happened there. So if in this word, here's what I'm talking about. See, this is what's the first letter here on this one right here. What's this letter? It's an aleph. What sound does it take? The vowel sound. What's the vowel that's related to it right here? Ah, so I mean now. Actually, I wrote the wrong one. That's my bad. We haven't gotten to one of them yet, but it's actually the next one, which is the 3 dots. It's got a sagol. What letter does that sound make? This one right here. These 3 dots. Eh. So this takes. It has no consonant, but it'll take the vowel. So L. This is a lamed, right? So it's L. And we're going to get to it in here in a second. Then this is going to be an O sound. And then he, you go H-I, there's a yod. He, Elohim. We'll get, again, when we get through all these, we'll do this plenty. Don't worry. This is where it gets really tricky. Because you read Hebrew by it's like going down, over, down, over, down, over. That's how Hebrew reads. It reads almost, the way you'll go in order for these is it goes, here, 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 here. Like that's how you read that word. It's a down and over type thing. Anyway, so we'll get that. So if it's the 3 little dots, it's an eh sound. If it's 2 dots, it's a long e sound, which is an a, may, like as in may. You've got maim. If it's 2 dots, it's an a. That's may. Same thing now this one doesn't change. If you have a yod there, it doesn't change it. This is why you have this. Again, don't worry. That's what this is for. It doesn't change it. It's still the exact same may. The Kamet Hatuf, it's not a big deal. It's just a different way it looks. I'm not even going to, it can be, if it comes in those repeated letters, it can be a short O sometimes. Just see it on there. The holum, this one looks kind of funky just sitting there. Like, where's that dot? It's just kind of floating there. If it comes and it's up here like it is in Elohim, like it was there, had the L, this is, just like we ever watch Wally, Mo, right? Mo. This is Mo. This is lo. Lo, behold, right? Lo and behold. That whole thing, it comes from lo. So this is, like you do a lamed and an O sound, a long O, lo. The same thing, I told you, on that vav, remember the vav can be a W, it can be a V, it can be a U, and it can be an O. This is where it kind of sucks. If you do a vav with that there, the vav doesn't make a sound, it just goes silent. It's just an O sound. So this is mo right here, and this is not mavo, it's just mo. The vav goes away, and it just takes the O. You just got to trust me on that one. When you see that little letter, the vav goes away. Both of these words are mo. Mo, because it comes up here, M-O, and then M, and this whole thing is an O, mo. If it's a little triple dot, going this way, 1, 2, 3, going that way, that's an It's like a short U, like a nook or book or took. which is a double O, but what do you do, right? But it's a short U. That is their U letter, like nut or something. All right, and then finally, the Vav, when the Vav has a dot right there, it's an U sound. It's not O. So if it has, this is O, this is U. Say it. So O, U. Like fool, ooh, I guess ooh. So O, U. There you go. That's the Hebrew alphabet. Now, that's a lot. All right, but what we're going to do, we are going to, together, we're going to transliterate. We're going to walk through Genesis 1:1 together. And I'm going to show you some different words to show you how some of this works, okay? So remember, on this, even though I've got Genesis 1:1, I didn't put it on the other side just because I don't want it to confuse too much, and if you ever read in Hebrew, it's going to be confusing. Your body, like when you get a Hebrew, I meant to bring mine out with me. When you read your Hebrew Bible, you open it this way. You open it this way. And you start on this side and go this way through the book, which gets really confusing. Because sometimes you're like flipping, like, where are these books? Oh, yeah, I got to go the other way. You go through the book the other way, too, because the language is the reverse. So it can be kind of confusing on that. But so we're going to start here. I'm going to bring it back up. I'm going to bring it up for you all to see here as well, so you can see it with me. So I'm going to zoom way in here so we can walk through these together. All right? So, now, I guess I must have missed one on here. Whoops, my bad. So I missed one. See this under the bait right here? This double dot right here? That's an eh sound. I'm sorry, I must have missed to put that on there. When you see that little dots this way, it's an S sound. Like, so this is beh. So as we're going to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to go down. So reading with me, so you're going to go, this is can I write on this? Let me see if I can write on this. I bet I can. Can I? I bet I can't. Shoot, I should have made this in my, what? Yeah, I guess I could. Let's see here. Come on. So, okay, so this is more tricky whenever you're using this one. Okay, is that? Okay, now it's frozen up. There we go. All right, well, dang it. I apologize. This is tricky with I'm just going to try to do my best here. So we're going to go, what's this first letter? It's a what? It's a bait. And then underneath, you go underneath, that would be a short E, so it's be. And then second letter is in what sound? Which letter? It's a resh. Now, this is a resh because it doesn't have that little extra thing on the end of it. So this is a resh. So be, r, and then go down. The two dots this way is a what? It's a sound, as in May. That's a serayod, right? So be, re. So if you want to kind of write this above, you can. Be, re. Now, this aleph here, what does it not have? It doesn't have any vowels. So what do you not do? You don't pronounce it at all. You just skip over it in pronunciation. So it's be-re. And is this a seen or a sheen? It's a sheen. So be-re, sh. And then dot under and a yod makes that a... Look at this would be, yes, this is a hirik yod. This is an E sound. Be-re, she. And that's a tav. Bereshit. So this word is bereshit. Bereshit. So as you're reading, so it's going to go the beta or the bait down, the resh down, the sheen down, and it has the yod with it, and then the tav. Bereshit. In, this bait is the word in. Bereshit. In Rashit is beginning. In the beginning, right? Now let's go to this next word. All right? We've got yet again, we've got another bait and and there's a comets or a pata under or comets. So bait, so it'd be what sound? Ba, and then resh, ah, and there's nothing. There's an aleph with no vowels. So bara. In the beginning, bara, create. This is the word to create. And here you have. I forgot that. Here it is. So you got an aleph with an underneath. You've got a lamed, but up here, up above the lamed, is that little dot that makes it a what? Lo. This is a hey, which is a H sound, but the dot and the yod make a what? Dot and the yod make a E, and then that's a final which letter? M. So that's Elohim. So, Bereshit, bara, Elohim. This is a good, nice, easy word. What's this next word? 8. Yeah, it's 8. Because it's got 2 dots, so it's an A sound. 8. Beroshim, bara, Elohim, 8. And remember I told you that first letter? There's the word right there. I told you with that first letter, it's a hey with a line under it. What word is that in English? The. It's ha. So it's ha in Hebrew. Ha. So the. So is that a seen or a sheen? Sheen. Ha. Sh. Ah. And then what letter? Third letter. I know. I'm right here. I'm right here on this one. So ha, sha, ma, and then yod, yi, yod, a dot, and an M. Ha-sha-ma-im. Ha-sha-ma-im. So in the beginning, God, Elohim, bara, created et ha-shamayim. The shamayim is the heavens. What would this be? If it's at the beginning, remember, every time it's at the beginning, it's always which letter? This is a vav. So it would be a V or a W. If it's at the beginning, it's always a V. So this would be va. Notice, look, you already got this one. Look, here it is, and look, here it is again. It's the exact same word twice. 8, va 8. Then what would that be? Where I have the blue over. Ha, and then ah. Va, or so it's ha, and then ah. Re. Ha, eretz. Ha, aretz. The aretz is which, and if it didn't have the ha in the front, that would be eretz. In the beginning, God made the hashamayim, the heavens, and haaretz, or haaretz. It's the earth, or the land. I mean, really, is what that means. It just means the land. It actually wasn't earth, but that's what we say because He made all. But He made the heavens and He made the land. He made the eretz. That word is a huge word. You'll see that everywhere throughout the Old Testament. It's a very common one. So these 3 letters are very common. So what I want you to try to do, like we did last time, you can work together. Please work together. I want you to try to do Deuteronomy 6:5, see if you can transliterate it to see if you can pronounce it. Okay? I'm going to take a break from up here. I'll walk around and help you. Do you have a question, though? Yeah. Yep. Oh, I didn't, I actually took some other ones out. If you see those dots in the middle, all those really mean, and I guess I should explain, it's more for pronunciation, it tells you to stop. It's like it doubles the letter. It kind of like it's like if you, I'm trying to think. So what's the difference between, in writing, or in good old English, right? It's the exact same way to pronounce that word, right? We say those words the exact same way. Habit and rabbit, right? We don't go rab-bit. But it is in there, the rab-bit, but we say it so quickly. But if you were to write, it's almost like that dot in the middle is saying it doubles that up. So that's a bait, right? That was a bait in there. And so what this little dot right in here means is like it just tells you this is not bear, it's be-re. So it's telling you to stop on that letter. Basically, that little dot's telling you to stop on that letter. Don't put that letter with the next one. So this is not bere, it's be-re. And you're going, what's the difference? It's a big difference in understanding that bait is its own word, actually. It's a prefix. Like we do un or re or non or whatever. It's like one of those where it's just a prefix thing. Like in, rashit is beginning, the word beginning. There's two words here. It's like rashit is the beginning, but in at the beginning, in a sense, at the beginning. But see here, this one's ba-ra. So it's not bara, it's ba-ra. Again, it's a pronunciation thing. Bara instead of bara. It's kind of like how we had the accent marks in Greek. That's really all that means. So those little, if there's a dot, now that does not work. That does not work for the vowels, because what does the vowel become if it has that dot in there? It becomes last one, it's a oo sound. So, yeah. You'll typically only see it in a bait and a pay. I think typically, those are the most times you'll see them. There is one there's in Sheen, but you don't see that one very often. So go ahead and try to do Deuteronomy 6. I'm going to walk around and see if I can help out.